Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it's been forever since I uploaded, but hopefully I'm starting to get back on track. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the other hand of this custom character set of press-on nails for my customer. You guys might recognize this set from my Christmas set last year. I loved this set so much. And I actually have opened up my website to sell custom hand-painted press-on nails. And my first character request for a set of press-ons was this one from last year. I'm so happy about this set. I love how it turned out and I can't wait to show you guys these steps. So I do already have my 2XL press-on nails here. They have been buffed already. And I'm going to go ahead and apply a layer of builder gel just to add a little bit of strength because these nails are quite long. I don't really think I'm going to go in depth on step by step of how I made this press-on set, just because I have been quite overwhelmed with the idea of trying to get back into editing, especially a character set. This set took me so long to do, and I know that the editing process for this video is going to be long as well. This set took me 22 hours total. I think this is definitely the longest amount of time I've ever spent on a set of nails. The original set that I did took me 12 hours, but I only did one hand. I was kind of hoping that this press-on set wouldn't quite take me this long, but it did. After I apply the builder gel, I did hold the press-ons upside down for a few seconds to level out the builder gel, and I did go ahead and cure. We're gonna go ahead and go in with our nude gel polish color for the base of the nails. For the pinky nail, I will be using a really pretty green shade of polish. I will be doing a different pattern on this nail and I didn't want to paint a nude base. I did actually end up doing like 2 or 3 layers of the gel polish color for this set, but I only filmed doing one just because it is very repetitive and this set is very detailed. So I didn't want to bore you guys with repeating the exact same step over and over, so that is why I'm only showing one. But of course, I did cure in between each of those layers. I went ahead and placed the same green gel that I used for the pinky onto my Vita Bella Artista palette, and I'm also using the Vita Bella short liner brush, which is absolutely my favorite nail art brush ever, and we are going to be doing a French tip on the pinky. So essentially the pinky and the index nail are the exact same as the other hand, and as you guys may know, I do already have a video tutorial for this exact design on my YouTube channel from last year. If you guys do want to see that original tutorial, I will link it here in the cards as well as down below in the description. I was sort of debating to not film this one just because it is a repeat design of a tutorial I already have, but I knew I was going to be doing different characters on the other hand, which is why I did decide to film this one. I just mixed up a slightly darker shade of that green for the detail in the wrapping paper design, and we're gonna go ahead and start doing that. So I have been really wanting to make a video explaining my press-on business, but I figured I would just go ahead and include it in this one. So I do have my own website for custom hand-painted press-on nails. The website is nailperfectionbykate.com. I will have that linked down below. On my website, you will find quite a few pre-designed press-on nails. Essentially for this, the design is going to look exactly how it does on the listing. All you have to do is pick out your size. There are a few different options depending on which design that you are picking. However, for the most part, the design is going to look exactly the same as the picture. Essentially, my pre-designs are press-ons that I've created for myself for promotional use. All of my press-ons are custom handmade per order. This means that every single order is custom made to order. I don't have any ready to ship press-ons at the moment. I love getting custom requests, so you can request a simple design or even character sets like this one. I do have listings on my website for these custom request press-on sets. However, in all of the descriptions, you will see that I request that you email or DM me for the request. I can't really price the custom request listing and it be accurate for whatever design that you're wanting. So I do it this way and I'll create a specific listing that you can purchase for the idea that you want. That way the price accurately represents the set that you're getting. So essentially saying that again, if you guys are interested to purchase some custom hand-painted press-ons by me, you can go ahead and DM me on Instagram at Nail Perfection by Kate, or you can go ahead and send me an email at info@nailperfectionbykate.com. Again, I will have those linked down below. I do want to quickly talk about my custom request orders. I know it might be intimidating to talk to someone that you don't know for a product that you don't know how much it's going to cost, but I promise you I'm very nice and I'm pretty open to any suggestions for design requests. Whenever you decide to message me, it doesn't have to be a reference photo. It can be just aesthetic photos or something that I can pull ideas from. If you don't want to go the photo route, I can do very descriptive messages to understand what you would want. However, I am a visual person, so having a photo to go by does help quite a lot. Once I do get the request of the design that you like, I do create a digital image of what the press-ons might look like. Do keep in mind, I try to make the press-ons look as close to the digital reference photo as possible. Again, I am a visual person, so having something to go by for the set does really help me a lot. If you do not like the digital image that I create, you can just tell me that you don't like something and we can come up with something different. I don't really feel like I'm a difficult person to work with, so as long as you're patient and understanding with me during this process, everything is going to turn out perfectly. So now that I've explained the process of ordering a custom set, I want to quickly show you guys an example of what this customer asked me for this specific set. So my first custom character request order came from my lovely customer. She had previously ordered 2 sizing kits to get an idea of her sizes and what the length and shape would feel like on her nails. She went ahead and sent me a photo of this design that I created last year for Christmas, and she wanted to know if I could create this as a press-on set. Because I created my set for content, I didn't create the other hand of nails, and she was a little bit confused of what she wanted to do for the other hand. I asked if she wanted a repeat design on the other hand, however, we were going to change the characters to other Mickey and Minnie Mouse characters. She loved the idea and gave me quite a lot of freedom for this set, which I really appreciate. Throughout the creating process of this press-on set, I was sending her updates periodically just to keep her informed of how her press-on set was coming along. Do please keep in mind whenever you order a custom character set, it can take up to 15 business days for me to ship them out. That is a pretty big time gap for processing time, but I do that to give myself a few extra days in case something happens or I'm very booked out with orders. Do keep in mind I do try to work as quickly as possible to get these orders out as soon as possible. Once she received her press-ons, she told me she absolutely loved them and went ahead and ordered 2 more custom character sets. These were Halloween themed. Unfortunately, I did not film creating those sets of press-ons, but here are some pictures. My favorite one out of all 3 of these custom character orders is definitely the Stitch one. I just think that is so pretty and I love how the pinky turned out. I'm actually obsessed. The little red gems are slightly 3D and I just love the effect on the design. So yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about at the moment. Let's go ahead and finish up this press-on set. After curing the wallpaper design, I did go ahead and take Cheyenne's Nails Velvet Matte Gel Top Coat, my favorite, and I went ahead and top coated the pinky as well as the index nail. These nails are essentially done minus the 3D bows. So for the other 3 nails, I will be doing characters on each of these. For the thumb here, I am going to be sketching out Goofy. Here is the first sketch of Goofy. I did this playing around just as we were throwing around the ideas of doing Goofy. I wanted to make sure I felt comfortable with the proportions and how to draw him. I did feel pretty comfortable, so we went ahead with this idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and basically repeat that exact same sketch onto this nail. The trick to doing sketches for characters is to make sure that the color you're using for the sketch is not too dark. The color I'm using is a very dark brown shade mixed with top coat. You don't want the sketch color to be too dark, otherwise you might have to do multiple layers of your color blocking colors, and that's very annoying. I would rather do one layer for all of the color blocking, so just make sure for this step that you are using a light color. This is a sketch, it does not have to be perfect, and keep in mind it doesn't have to fully connect. As long as you know exactly where to place all of the colors, it is perfectly fine. Once I have the sketch of Goofy, I did go ahead and cure that layer of gel. Now I am moving on to the middle fingernail. For this nail, I am going to be doing Donald Duck. I initially started out with a wavy line, and this is basically the direction in which his body is posed. I kind of did it this way to make sure that everything is placed exactly how I want it on the nail and that everything fits in the correct place. So after that, I just went ahead and drew a circle. We're gonna go ahead and finish out the sketch of Donald Duck. This was my first time painting all three of these characters, so I was a little bit nervous as to how the set was gonna turn out. Essentially, whenever you're trying a new character, you just wanna find a really good reference photo and try to make it look as perfect to the reference photo as possible. So speaking of reference photos, this is the digital image that I create and send to my customers for their custom character sets. Again, this is just a rough guide for the customer as well as myself to get an idea of how the set is going to look. For this reference photo, as you can see, the top 4 nails are basically just cutouts of the set that I did, just because that was the original reference photo that you sent me for this character design. We did want to change Pluto just a little bit. I did not have good proportions on my original Minnie and Mickey Mouse design, and I thought this would look a little bit better than the other pose of Pluto. And for the other hand, I did cut and paste the index and pinky nail from the previous hand, but of course the characters are different. As I was creating the set, we did end up deciding to change the colors of the boxes that Goofy is holding, just because these colored boxes were extremely crazy. I felt like the colors would really throw off the nail set. So my customer essentially gave me complete freedom over the colors and patterns on the boxes. So for the ring fingernail, I am going to be doing Daisy Duck, and for the reference photo, Donald Duck is looking at her directly in the eyes. So I went ahead and aligned up the cuticles of these nails, and I just did a diagonal line with my brush from his eye to where I plan to place hers. That way it does look like he's looking directly into her eyes when the nails are on. So from the dot that I made on the nail, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of sketch out her body as I did for Donald Duck, making sure that this dot is going to be where her eyes are placed. I'm not going to explain too much for Daisy's sketch. It is very similar to Donald's. Pretty much the only difference is it's a slightly different pose and she does have eyelashes. I do kind of think that some of you guys might be questioning why I'm doing a Christmas set. This order was actually placed in August. I very much appreciate a big time gap for holiday themed press-on sets. I know some people like to wait until last minute, but I can't really guarantee that I can create and ship out the press-ons before the holiday if you guys wait too close. So yeah, if you do really want a holiday themed product, do make sure to order at least a few weeks in advance. After curing all of the character sketches, this is what the nails are looking like. I'm going to start skipping around just a little bit. I'm going to switch back to the index nail. So I'm taking a red gel liner and I'm going to go ahead and do the French tip outline as well as the ribbon for the 3D bow. After doing the red lines, I did go ahead and cure. That's essentially all I'm doing for this nail at the moment. Moving back to the Donald Duck nail, I'm going to go ahead and start color blocking. So taking my Vita Bella white gel paint, I am going to go ahead and start painting all the white areas for this character. It is essential whenever you're doing character nails to make sure to have an extremely pigmented good gel to work with, especially for color blocking like this. You do not want to have to do multiple layers for this type of nail art. The Vita Bella black and white gel paint are absolutely my top favorites ever. These have extreme pigment and the consistency of these gel paints is pretty thick. I love a good thick gel. They're not going to be running all over your nail, which is extremely important because you do not want the color to go outside of the sketch. Overall, I definitely recommend these gel paints and nail art brushes. Anytime you color block, you do want to make sure to cure in between each of the colors. That way you do not have the colors bleeding into the other ones. Off camera, I did the same white color blocking with Daisy as well, and I went ahead and cured that as well. Now I'm going back with my red gel liner to do all of the red areas of these characters. At this point, I was going back and forth between the two nails as I'm doing each color. That way I do not have to clean the nail art brush so many times. I feel like this made the process go by a little bit quicker as well. After curing all of the red nail art, I am going back in with the same green that I used for the other nails, and we are going to be doing Donald's scarf as well as the band on his shirt and his hat. Now originally from the reference photo that I pulled from, Daisy was wearing white, but I decided to put her in green just to tie the nails together a little bit more, and I actually really like how it turned out. After curing all of the green detail, I am taking a orangey yellow color for their beaks. I have to say this was the most time-consuming part of this entire hand of nails was their beaks. I actually put quite a bit of shading into them. Unlike every other character, I pretty much didn't do any shading for these characters, but for their beaks I did a bit of shading. To shade out my gel polishes, I am just using the pointy side of the Oopsie brush from Vita Bella. I love this brush for removing mistakes, but it's also really good for blending your gel polishes. So I definitely recommend this one as well as the short liner. Vita Bella does also have a micro detailer as well as a long liner. I typically don't really use those as much as the short liner and Oopsie brush. I could definitely benefit from using the micro detailer, but I just get a little bit lazy when it comes to switching out the brushes as I'm painting. And honestly, I forget about it a lot, so that's why I mainly just use the short liner. Initially, I was outlining their beaks with a very dark brown color, but after looking at the finished characters, I decided on outlining it with black because it did seem a little bit odd that the beaks were outlined in brown and everything else was outlined in black. I would have loved to leave the beaks outlined in brown, however, that meant I needed to outline the rest of the character with darker colors than the color blocking in that area. And that is not the style that I did for the rest of the characters. Everyone else is outlined in black. So if I would have made these characters outlined in different colors, it would have looked very different. So that is why I did end up outlining everything in black. I am just continuing with the color blocking, so I'm finishing that up by filling in their eyes. For their eyes, it is not white, it is actually light blue, so I did have to custom mix that color. I did also go ahead and finish up some details for color blocking for these two characters. After curing all of the colors from color blocking, I am taking the Vita Bella black gel paint and we're going to go ahead and outline these characters. This was also a very time-consuming part of the nail design. If I could get away with outlining, I probably would, just because I am a perfectionist with my lines, and if it's not straight or even, I will erase it and do it over. This means that it can take quite a while for me to outline my characters. Now that I'm finished with the outline for Daisy and Donald Duck, I am moving on to the thumbnail, which is Goofy. I really enjoyed drawing Goofy. I feel like he's a pretty easy character to draw. I also really liked how I changed the clothing for him. He was originally in his original Goofy outfit. However, I did want to match him with Pluto on the other thumbnail, so he is wearing a green sweater. I love how these sweaters turned out, but I have to say doing those tiny lines for the detail on them was quite hard. But I really like how they did turn out. So if you know from earlier, I did mention that I ended up changing the colors of these boxes. I took a little bit too much credit because I was actually a little bit stumped on the colors that I thought would go well with this set, and my husband actually helped me. So shout out to my husband for picking these colors for the boxes. I did kind of change his opinion of the blue because the blue that he told me I should use looked a little bit too bright. So I did just kind of dull that color down by adding gray to the color that I used, and that helped so much. Of course, after finishing all of the color blocking for Goofy, I did go ahead and take the black gel paint to outline this character as well. I did go ahead and cure all of the outlines for Goofy. Going back with the red gel liner, I'm going to go ahead and do the ribbon for the pinky nail. Essentially, this is just a straight line that goes down the center of the pinky nail. I do have to say this is quite hard. These nails are about 1.5 inches long, and doing a straight line on a nail that long is quite hard. I did manage to get it pretty straight. After I cure that, I am going to go ahead with my red sculpting gel to sculpt out the 3D bows. Sculpting gel is one of my favorite nail products to work with. I am not a sculptor, but I really like sculpting things on nails. It's pretty fun to me. I do have to say though that using a red sculpting gel is quite terrifying, because I have noticed that the pigment can be left behind on the nail, especially if it's matte, which these nails do have a matte background. So trying to avoid having any of the sculpting gel pigment stuck on the base of the nail was very terrifying for me. Red is pretty hard to get off of anything, especially with nail products like this. I was terrified it was going to stain the background. Luckily, I didn't really have any issues. I really loved sculpting out these bows. I felt like they turned out really good. If you guys did see my original tutorial for the Christmas Mickey set, I did actually use a white 3D gel and I painted it with gel polish because I didn't have any colors at the time. So now that I have red, it did speed up the process a little bit. I didn't really have to sit and paint the entire bow. After I sculpted out the bows with the 3D gel, I am going back with the brown mixed with top coat to go ahead and add a little bit of shading. This step is optional, but I wanted to give these bows a little bit more detail, and having a color that is slightly transparent really helps with the blending. The part that I was dreading to do most for the bow nails is actually to top coat only the red parts. I have recently switched around my top coat gels quite a lot, and the one that I'm currently using and actually like is a little bit on the runny side, so I was terrified that this was going to run onto the green gel and just ruin the background of this nail. Luckily, I did notice the 1 or 2 spots that this happened in, and I was able to clean it up before I cured. That way it would not mess up the background. But after top coating the bows, I did cure them, and I'm going to top coat the characters as well. I did go ahead and cure all of the top coated nails, and off camera I did file and even out the length of all of these. For my press-ons, I do like them to be all the exact same length, so I did do that off camera. But this is the press-on set. What do you guys think? I am obsessed with these. As I said, my customer absolutely loved these, and I'm so happy that she was satisfied with her purchase. Do make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you guys are interested to purchase some custom character press-on nails by me, go ahead and DM at me at Nail Perfection by Kate, or you can send me an email at info@nailperfectionbykate.com. Again, I will have all the information for my press-on business linked down below. Bye!